All right. Good evening to our brothers and sisters in the beautiful city of Monrovia, or should I say Christopolis? Maybe we'll change it one day. Good
Yeah,
evening to you. I know it's 8 p.m. your time. We say welcome to Liberia Indeed Shall Rise. I'm your host, Augustine Sharif. I'm here with the doctor. No, he's not a doctor. I'm here with the scientist, Mr. Emmanuel Sapalucia. Mr. Sapalucia, how you doing today, boss?
I'm wonderful today. Our sun is bright. We're about 80 some odd degree. As usual, Houston is getting warmer and warmer. But life is good. By God's grace, we are surviving. We are still counting among the living, and nothing we can do but thank God for that life.
I appreciate
And
that
we are in my
sentiment.
birth month, by the way.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let's definitely do it. Yes, let's definitely do it. I am super excited that we got to get something going on the road. And look, in Liberia, you should do it the way Liberians do it. By the time they get to that birth month, they start to say, March, I don't know, what is the 24th or the 23rd or the 19th? They will say March 19 loading. So you
Yeah,
should start loading it on Facebook. And maybe you'll get more present when you do that.
I know it's not going to happen, so I don't pay attention to it. It's just another, to me, it's just another day. I'm just grateful that I can see that day and keep moving.
That's
Nothing going to
very
change. The word is not going to change because I got one one year added to or one day added to my years. It's just another day in the world.
Let's do it. Let's do it. But no, hey, I'm super excited that we can be part of the festivity. We can be part of the occasion. But again, to our good folks, we say welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. And today, though, we are going to be having fun. We want to add our voices to this craze that is taking place in Monrovia. They call it the Yellow Machine craze. We are going to be talking about that a little bit. But look, we are going to be going in a different direction. Hopefully, that maybe after people shall have received or shall have listened to the show, they will leave the show thinking like, you know what? We got something that we can kind of build on, or we know exactly that this is absurd to even celebrate in the first place. So, hey, let me do this real quick. Sabalusi, I'm just going to play a quick song, and then we're going to come back here. We'll get it. We're going to get this show on the road. But yeah, let's stay tuned, and we are going to let me.
Oh, hail Liberia, hail. Oh, hail Liberia, hail. This glorious land of liberty shall long be out. The new name, great be her fame, and mighty be her power. Oh, oh, hail, oh, hail, oh, hail, oh, hail, the Lone Star forever. Oh, hail, Liberia, oh, hail, Liberia, hail, in union strong.
All right, let's get back to the show. Let's get the show back on the road, Mr. Sapalucia. So on Thursday, I'm gonna start. Prior to Thursday, I think last week we heard the news that there were some yellow machines in the country, and that became another phenomenon in the country. Everybody was wearing yellow. Everybody and our children, our grandchildren were wearing yellow, and I was very confused, Sapalucia, when I saw that. Seriously, I was super confused. I could not understand what the frenzy was all about. Why were people just so in the jubilant spirit? And the first thing I said to myself was, I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm going to call people in Liberia, people who are in government, who probably know exactly what this frenzy is all about. But I want to start with you there. What was your reaction when you first saw this? I know you probably came across some of the posts on Facebook. What was your initial reaction?
I think we had similar reaction in that this have become somewhat like a norm for the Liberians these days. Liberian, let me put it that way, because yeah, not always being. I
Mhm.
remember back in the days in the 80s when Corin went, we were boo, and then when it comes, we say yay and stuff like
Right.
that. But it was not a celebration. It was just because we saw light, and and this was normally among the kids, not
Yeah.
the older people.
Sure.
Unfortunately, this time around, those things that we thought was something expected have become a spectacle now in Liberia, right? Like you light a light pole. Well, that is something you're supposed to do. That's what we used to think. But today you put one light pole up in a community and the adults, the children, and everybody coming up and celebrating, and then when it goes off, we don't hear anything. So it kind of I don't know what to think. I don't know what to make of it when I see people jubilating for whether it's electric, I mean the street light or a yellow machine that come. And I think I heard, I don't know whether it is true. They had a yellow machine day. That's what I heard. I don't know whether it is true. Where everybody, I don't know whether these are AIs, but there were people dressed in all yellow and they say, "Oh, yellow day, yellow machine day." And I know. But
But
what I
yeah.
saw one of our tradition being, in my opinion, one of
Mhm.
our one of our normal tradition being ridiculed. In that, I saw people putting lapas on the floor, and I
Mm.
think it was red light area. That I saw a video for yellow machine to pass. That is down, in my opinion, that is downplaying our tradition, because that was a tradition that was meant for things that were of celebrity, like something that excel. When you excel at
Your,
something,
your, your son or daughter graduated college,
exactly,
or
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 some
your
ceremonial
daughter
thing
is getting
that will
married.
bringing greatness to you or something of that magnitude. That's what we use to spread the lappers on the floor, you know.
Yeah.
So I think you and I had the same kind of mixed feeling why people are celebrating this thing when we're not seeing anything.
And before our viewers or before anyone who will listen to the show start to judge and say, hey, you guys are haters, you are hating on the administration. Before you say that, look, we all here, I don't think anyone here is sedition or UPS or whatever political party affiliation you want to think about in Liberia. We are not. And so I think that is what makes us very unique. We come from a place of objectivity. And the direction of our show today is not to talk about the yellow machine coming in the country. We actually want to focus on what my co-host, Mr. Sapalusia, just said. And what is our expectation of our government? What should we as a people expect? What do we think the government is supposed to do for us? Because if we understand that direction and we know that our government, it is expected of us that you will give us the basic three, the shelter, you give us the clothing, you give us the food. If we think that the government is supposed to be there to help in this direction, then everything else we think about, it will go out the window. But if you think we don't expect anything of people, then we are setting ourselves up for failure. And that we will always speak against. Sapolusi, let me take you way back. When the government was first elected, that is, I'm talking about the United Party government. When the administration was first elected, there was a notable man. He was on the committee that was the transition committee. He was chosen, and this man, at one point in time, he was a finance minister for that country, and then he is now a senator, I think, for Bapolu County. And this is someone who everybody respects. He was on the transition committee. So, oh man, Amara Khan and these guys, they know now these brains are coming in. We know the government is going to do better. I don't know if you remember, but before the transition could even be completed, the man told you guys, he said, please lower your expectation. Don't expect too, too much.
Mm-hmm.
And from that particular moment, though, have not paid attention to anything. And it just seemed as though they celebrate. Could it be that because it's a lower expectation, so maybe when something that they should have, the government should have done, when they do it, people should celebrate?
So and I remember that time, and one thing I would give him credit for, he's not a perfect person. I follow him too, because he came
Mhm.
from previous government and they were instrumental in getting this government to power. One thing I know, some of the things that I have seen him do, I'm not saying it's going to be all over. He have tried to distance himself from some of the negative things that the government is doing. He tried to be a critic of the government, and he's not seeing in some depending on where you are in the United Party or this government, he become one of the enemy or opposition, as they would like to call him. And I think
Mhm.
that is very critical to our democracy, if we want to call it democracy, what we have in Liberia, right? Where I
Mhm.
can be part of the organization, but when I see it going the wrong way, I should point out that it is going the wrong way so that we can correct it. Because in my field, that's what we do. In healthcare, we got what we call laboratory science. The reason laboratory science exists is not to see the man die before we go and start checking. No, we want to see what you have and how we find where we can treat it before it gets either worse or before it gets there. That's our job. And
Mhm.
I think that's some of the things, those are some of the principles he tried to apply. When he sees something going wrong, he criticizes. He's not like some of the lights that were used to be in the Senate that I don't know whether it's dim or if it's like the LEC current nowadays. I don't know whether that's the kind of light we have, but it is not a bad thing to be part of a group and when they're doing the wrong thing to come out and say, look, what we're doing here is not right. Let us do it the right way. I don't think it's a bad thing. And I think that's where he stands. Now, the expectation he talked about, and I think he was right,
Mhm.
in that you don't set an expectation that this government will not meet and you'll be disappointed. I think that's what you're preparing people for. I think he was preparing people mindset so that they don't say, and that's what we have always done. We expect more of these people, knowing that these are the same old people, but just coming on a different, either in different uniform or different names or different color or whatever you want to call it. These are the same people. So I think that's the angle from which you were addressing it. Now, whether it was interpreted to other people that, oh, set your expectation low so that when the government does it, you can praise it. If that was what he were intending, I don't think he was serving himself or the country well. But the Liberians themselves have set the bar so low based on those people that they elect to offices that
And I think
politics.
that was where my question was coming from. Sorry to interrupt you. That was where
Yeah.
my question was coming from. The bar is so low. So how low can we go? When you say lower your expectation, how low can we take that bar? Because Liberians have set the bar so low, and that is why I really want to focus today on our expectation or our thought process when it comes to what we should expect from our governments.
Okay.
You know,
So a good you asked that question. How low can we go? Let me tell you how low we have gone. How low we have gone. We have gone so low that a guy can open a podcast where he denigrates everybody, insults people. He's not even educated. But the fact that he can use profanity, he becomes popular. And he can have the audacity to say he want to become a senator. That's how low we have gone. Because I remember growing up, when we heard Senator this, when we heard Senator that, it came with repetition. Like there was a reputable person that was standing there. When we said her Speaker of the House, those days, those were reputable people in society who we
mhm.
felt, well, this guy was this. When you look at that credential and say, yes. But today, look at your deputy speaker credential. Look at your speakers. I'm not saying some of them are not educated. Some of them are. But their education and their repetition don't match. Because back in the days, your repetition had to match with your credential. It was not just the guy is a master degree holder and he's this, but he's like, he talked like trash and he behaved like trash. No, I remember back in the 80s, man, think about it, those guys who were in the house. Even the ministers, when we heard their names, we were shaken by their names. But these days, we have set the bar so low that the guy who is living with his parents, who has no form of good character in his community, can become a lawmaker. He's making law for people who are well educated, well disciplined, good reputable people. And this is a notorious guy making laws for them, making decisions for them. That's how
do
low we
we
have gone.
do we have a severe problem in our country? Because
Exactly.
when you and myself was in school, Sapalucia, we has a specific subject called civics,
Yes.
and we had to pass those subjects. And it was not just about passing, but it was really educating us our rights as citizens and also our expectation of the government and the different branches of government. We learned about all of these different things, even though some of us had no idea what some of those things meant, but we learned it. And some of us could tell you exactly the three branches of government. This person does that. That person, the veto system, the voting rights. We talk about all of those different things. Now, it just seems as though right now in our country, It seems as though we have that kind of problem. You know, when you go on the streets, when you go on the streets and you ask a 12th grade student, and maybe look, I would venture, LU just have a bunch of graduates. You know, I got friends who graduated, I got family member who graduated, but that same family member, when he sent messages to me, when I ask him to send me email, I know exactly how he is writing, how he is speaking, and I know exactly subject and verb. They are not agreeing most of the time, and so I'm not here to denigrate our education system, but I'm saying if everything is lower, then we get to a point where civic education got to be one of those things that is even lower. Why do we have to have an NGO when election is coming? We have a foreign organization go into our country and they say they are monitoring election, but most of them, especially with the Carter Center, they are actually going out and educating people on voters' rights. And why should we wait? Nobody does that for me in the country where I sit.
No.
Nobody tell me exactly what my rights are and all these different things. How politicians they come after me. They're my cell phone, my what they come after me, asking me, hey, will you vote for me? Will you do this? They come after me because they know what I have in my hands power. But in Liberia, they will come after you. But apart from that, they will come and appease you, whether it's 5 cup of rice, they will give that to you, or $20 US, they will give that to you, and then that buy your vote. And so, do we have a civic problem in our country, Sabalusia? With that
Yes.
yellow machine, we're taking it
No, no, no.
somewhere else.
Forget about yellow machine. That yellow
Yeah,
machine, because all those
yeah.
things are tied into the yellow machine,
Mhm.
electricity, and everything else that come after. You see, and I always when someone making these points, people don't understand. I remember back in I think around 2016, 2017, someone talked about this. During Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's first term, she removed civics education from public school. That was not a mistake. It was intentional. People look at these things and they overlook them most of the time. It was intentional because these politicians know when people are educated, they cannot easily control them. They know that. So think about it. From Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's first tenure, when she eradicated civics education from the education system to now, that's at least 15 years. How many students have we graduated since 2015
Hmm.
or within 15 years? That's a lot of people
A
who
lot
have
of people.
gone to school and graduated from college without knowing their basic and fundamental rights as a citizen of the country. It was intentional, right? So these are people who put policies in place that will drain the citizenry so that they can control them. But guess what? Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's grandchildren are not in Liberia. They are in the diaspora learning civic education about Liberia. So that when they come back, they know the laws. They know how Liberians should be operating. And they can manipulate the Liberian voting population so that they can become their leaders and control them like puppets. It is intentional.
Yeah,
So that's the standard that we have set.
yeah, and so basically, and this is where I want to definitely kind of, just move in a different direction here real quick as we talk about all of this. I think we're setting a very good foundation here to kind of discuss about all of these things because if we do so, hopefully our viewers they will make informed decision. Many times we have heard on our show here on our platform, some people have come from Liberia. They will say, "Oh man, you guys, your own show is too educational. That's why not too many people can watch you guys." Or you guys only talk about book stuff. That's why not too many people can join you guys. But that unfortunately, that's what we want. Not everybody can come on a podcast or come on a video on social media and just begin to just denigrate the country or say horrible thing. I think what we try to do here is to present some educational information and also balance it with politics wherever we can go. But here's the thing: if you look at what is happening in the country, or let's just say what happened last week. Last week, I think I saw the same video that you are referencing, where there were people red lights. I mean, Sabalusia, I have never seen where a vehicle is being escorted in a police with I mean, look, I'm not saying senators, when senators are moving or lawmakers are moving, they have the escort vehicles.
Mhm.
Presidents, vice president, they have that escort. Chief justice, they have escort vehicle. But I'm just saying, an empty machine, you're taking this empty machine from the Freeport and you're taking it to but you have two, three police cars guarding that thing. And then you have the people jubilating, dancing, and celebrating, like you said, spreading a lapa for the machine to walk on it, or to drive on it. Maybe that was the only lapa that woman had, but they was spreading it on the road. And
Yeah.
people were there. People were being interviewed because this is courtesy of Liberia National TV, I think Liberia LNTV. So
LNTV,
it's
yes.
courtesy of them, give them credit. They were interviewing the people that were jubilating. One of the phrases that you kept hearing was 12 years, 12 years, 12 years. So to those people, it did not matter whether Bwaka go the next 3 or 4 years and did nothing. This moment will define his presidency for them. That's why it sounded like to me. Am I pushing it too far
No,
for
you're
those
not. I mean,
12 years?
no, you're not. You're not pushing it. Unfortunately, that's how we have been conditioned, and I'm using it and using the word condition intentionally. That's how Liberians have been conditioned to think. They only think of the now and not the tomorrow. You know what they did? When I saw the people doing that stuff, it made me think about a father celebrating because he registered his child to go to school or to LU. He already celebrated his child's success. He know that the child will graduate and get a good job or nothing. No, he just already celebrating. But let me tell Liberians back to some of the things that are already happening in the country. I want to remind you that so many times non-governmental organizations have brought in medication for JFK. That those medications will be free for you at JFK and all the government hospitals. But those medication, you take it out of those places and carry it to the pharmacy and you go and buy it.
Hmm.
JFK should have been renovated a long time ago. It's still sitting there. But most of the representatives from those districts, they're living in beautiful houses that cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you put all of the representatives that have served in that particular district where JFK is from 2006 to now, the money that they have taken home will be no less than 7, 8 to 10 million United States dollars. But that money have not been used to renovate JFK. And you, when you're looking for healthcare, you can't find it. Let me remind you also that there are schools in Liberia in the 21st century that they don't have chairs to sit on. Whereas if you look at a model that Hope Center or Hope, I don't call what Claire we have
The Claria Foundation. Yeah.
foundation. If you see the model of how classrooms look like, that's how it looks like in almost most of the world, not only in America, but even in Africa, in Ghana, and other African countries. That's how the classroom look like. But in Liberia, most of Liberian schools, you still using old blackboard, and most of them that piece of blackboard on the wall. So when you celebrating yellow machine, and nobody is saying, I'm not saying the yellow machine is not a good thing. No, if it is used for the intended purpose, it will provide, in my opinion, and from my observation, and what I know it to be, if it is used for the intended purpose to build roads in the rural area, not just flash it on Broad Street and other places, but if you build roads and connect all the little villages, yes, it will provide agricultural benefit for the Liberian people. It will provide some kind of investment because people will be employed, people will be doing things. It will do those things. But in my opinion, don't be happy yet. Let them start using it for the intended purpose and start seeing the benefit before you start celebrating. Right? Because that's what we heard. Rice price will come down. Today, rice price have not come down. That's what we heard. Car were not going to get stuck in the mud. Well, 2 years now, we know cars still sticking in the mud. So don't be happy for what you hear. Be happy for what you see. Okay? We are not saying that the machines will not do its job. No. But what we're saying is Liberians tend to pre-celebrate. Do not celebrate your child entry to LU. Celebrate your child graduation from LU.
Okay. And so, and I think basically, look, I'm in agreement with you. I'm following along with you. and I am tracking all of that with you. And basically, I think this is something everybody else is kind of pushing. As you saw the yellow machine thing going up, before I go in my next direction, I want to ask you this. Let's look at the people that were celebrating. This is not the first time this has happened. That's why I was telling you before we even start the show. Every little thing we do in the country, for some reason, it is worth celebrating. Whether it was, oh, Robert Highway got electricity on the road, even though it's not consistent, it's not there, but we celebrate it. Oh, George Weah, he got electricity going all the way to Buchanan, even though it was just one light post standing in one corner, they celebrated. And so I want to go back to the Liberian mindset, our mindset. Are we making our political leaders, are we making them lazy? Simply, and I think that was why I was asking you over the civic education, the civic, because look, my representative in my district, okay, my representative, I know exactly when he comes here for town hall, I go to those town hall. If I don't have to, I will go. I make time to go because I want to ask specific question. I want to ask specific question. Look, when we had our latest town hall here, my representative Jason Crow, he's a military man, military guy, and I went to that town hall. When there was time to ask question, I asked question. While everybody was asking about the school district, asking about the school district, this district, that district, my question was just to gear towards my people. I said, when you think Liberia in Colorado, have you ever heard the name Liberia? That was my question I asked. Have you ever heard the name Liberia? And when you hear Liberia, what does it say to you? And then he said, oh yeah, I've heard Liberia, it's an African nation in West Africa and da 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 da. He knew something about my country. So I said, do you by any chance know how many members of that country live in your district? And he said he did not know. And I told him, I said, I respect that. And I just said, please try to know. Please try to know. I'm just giving an example to just tell you that my representative, I can hold him accountable. The next time he have another town hall, he can rest assured I'm going to be in that meeting. I'll ask the same question. Because don't only think that, when it's time for election, because when they were running, they actually visited all of these different nationalities that got citizens in this country because they want to vote. We hold them responsible. We know what is expected. If there's potholes in our district, we know exactly that our representative, you're not doing us a good job. If the district does not have a school, we know my representative is not doing a good job. If it does not have employment opportunities, there's no company, businesses coming in our district, you are not doing a good job. We hold you accountable. And I think that is why I really like the fact that you were saying about the JFK district, for example, which is a prime location, a prime district that should actually cater to the healthcare system in the country. Are we, the citizens of Liberia, are we making our legislature, our members of parliament, our government, are we making them to be lazy, or are we making them? Are we to just set the bar so low for us?
So, Sherry, I can answer it in a way that it may resonate with all of almost Liberians because that's how we behave. You know how the church system is in Liberia, and it's not. I'm not trying to pick apart the religious or sector at all.
Mm-mm.
But if you look at the way it's being done, when we're growing up, we're told you can't. Whatever the pastor tell you is what you do. You don't ask. You don't question God. You don't question the pastor. You don't all that kind of stuff. So people went to church, just listen to whatever the pastor say, and they don't go and read the scripture. Whether the man quoting Isaiah and tell he quoting Isaiah 4:10 and quoting Matthew 2:12. We didn't ask. We just listening.
Mm-hmm.
That is where Liberia has become. When you look at politicians, they look at politicians now almost like gods. That's why they don't ask them. They don't think those who are accountable to them. No, they feel that those people are their fathers, those people are their gods, those people are some supreme being, which is supposed to be the opposite. The reason you had the guts to ask your sitting representative is because you know your rights. That's one. Because he knows you're important. Now, in Liberia, on the other hand, the citizens have been made to feel or believe that the man who is serving in government, one, is better than them. That's the first thing they have told him. Two, he's above the law. He cannot be held accountable. Which are example we see every day. Simple example. Do you know that the lawmakers went and made law to violate the traffic law so that they can have a third lane that they can drive on to put citizen life at risk? So if you're telling me you're making law that can kill a citizen of the country, then you're telling me the citizen is not important. Sharif, that's what it means. If people don't even sit to think about it that way. You, the lawmaker, you're telling the people, no, we shouldn't follow the law to drive in the city. If you, lawmaker, you say you want to have free time to go to work, build more roads. That's the solution. Not to make law to give you a third route. So that the child that is going to school, who does not understand traffic rule, when they're crossing, you can come and kill them. And you fly by and go to work. And you say you cannot be arrested because you're on your way to go to work because the Constitution says you cannot be arrested unless you commit felony. So that's the myth. That is the fact. That's what happened in our country. The people feel that when they are elected, they are better than the citizens. So the citizens have no voice. So sometimes the citizens, they don't have a choice, but to just go by what they are told. And that's what happening, Sharif. The citizens do not know their importance.
And and I'm gonna come back this way here. I'm gonna bring this up. I don't want these guys to feel like we are really trying to not read their comments. Jackson Pay, he says something here. Says, so through your view, that is our view here on the platform, on this issue, on the discussion, how you think Liberia can be built on a solid ground, from farms to marketplaces. It's Jackson Pay from okay. So I'm trying to follow the question and really understand the case question. So how do we think the country can be built, right? Maybe that's something he wants to ask. Maybe he think we are really discrediting this yellow machine thing. But Jackson, if I don't understand your question correctly, please feel free to come back in and put another comment in there. But we are not saying bringing these machines in the country is a horrible thing. We are not saying it is a bad thing. We agree, and we'll look at some of the economic impacts. We'll look at some of that towards the end of the show. Just stay tuned. We'll get to it. We'll look at some of the economic benefits we think that the country can gain from bringing these equipment into the country. But what we are saying here, though, right now we are putting our mouth on us, the Liberian people. We are talking about you, the Liberian people, us, the Liberian people. Every little thing we celebrate. And because we celebrate every little thing that the government should do for us, we hire them to do a job. We hire them. They did not hire us. We hire them to work for us. We give them a mandate and say, look, this is our expectation based on what you say you will do. We hold you responsible for that. And if you can go now and look at the scorecard, you say, okay, we've been 2 years into this first 6 years. If you can look at the scorecard and say, on the scorecard, the arrest agenda, we have gone boom, 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 then you're doing great. But if we look at that scorecard and that scorecard does not give us anything and the arrest agenda only have 2 or 5, then we got a problem. And what we are saying here, the government is responsible to bring about development to its nation and to build international camaraderie among other nations to be able to bring investment into the country. And let me give you my honest opinion on the yellow machine thing. Let me tell you something. In my subdivision where I live, and I know you guys hate it when we try to compare America, but that's what we say. When I go to Liberia, I don't hear you playing country music on the radio. You're dressed like American people. You wear jeans and t-shirt. You're spraying yourself with American cologne all day. When you're on your Facebook pages, you're looking at American things all day. I can go to Ghanaian page and see Ghanaian content where they're doing stuff in Tui, or they're doing something in Ashanti. But I don't see that in Liberia. It's all Americanized. I see a young men walking around with their trousers hanging on the bottom and braiding their hair like Americans do. So when we compare, then you get angry. Don't be angry. Let me tell you, my subdivision I live in, on the other side of my subdivision, there's a company that came in and said, we want to build new apartment houses, want to build new company houses in this area. You know what, my mayor, not my president, not my governor of my state, but the mayor for that little area. You know what that mayor said? Great. Come and build. But guess what? Because we already have this number of students in our district, and they already have one school here, when you build this new subdivision, you are responsible to bring a new school. You are responsible to pave the area. You are responsible to bring to work with the county, the city or the county to make sure water, safe drinking water is flowing. When you bring investment in the country, those investors will develop. They have to develop. Some of these things that we're celebrating, that people fixing road and doing this and doing, bring investors to FOIA. When you brought investors to the B Mountain thing, when you brought them to Cape Mount, you sit down and you tell them, hey, yes, we'll bring you to mine in this area, but this area must be paved. The road from Monrovia to here must be paved. Schools must be built. Safe drinking water must be in place. And the people have to have medical center that will care for them. The workers, their wives should be. So when you bring investors in the country, they are responsible to bring some of this development that we're celebrating today. Sapolicia, take over.
Yeah, Sherry, a good I put that point. And that's why when we're trying to tell our people the thing, we don't want development. No, that's not what we are saying. We do want development. I mean, I got interest in Liberia. I'm vested in Liberia, actually. Okay. But what we know and what we see, even right around us in Africa, in Ghana, for example, is what these people do. Then you alluded to companies that they bring. They put no condition on the concession agreement, and it goes back. And that's why I always speak on the lawmakers, because they are representing those districts. Mm-hmm. You're going to sign a concession agreement for Accelerator in Bonn, in Nima, and other places. And you got people sleeping in containers. I think I just recently started trying to build some little hut, but people were sleeping in containers. Containers. Doesn't that teach you that's like slavery? Like you're putting people in a container to ship out of the country? Doesn't that even demoralize you as a citizen? No condition, no criteria. Like somebody was telling me yesterday, we went to some Liberian function, and they were telling me around Roseville, right around closer to Bomi, Roseville, between Bomi and Monserrato, there's a town in that area. We used to go there during the war, and the Chinese have opened a sand port there, sand mining port, and the mining sand and transferred it to China. Now, but the lawmaker in that area did not think, okay, why is this guy taking the sand from here to China? He's not thinking about it. He's not thinking, okay, instead of you go to China, why go build a factory right here? What do you want to build to go to China? And this is the 21st century. Build the factory right here, train my people, provide job for them, provide education for them, and then, so to answer Jackson's question, because that's the same thing, Jackson, in order for Liberia to be developed on a solid ground, those are things that need to be done. The yellow machine is a good idea. Yes, it will create road connection, farm to market road, which is great, because then the people hopefully, but it's not all to it though. Because let's be realistic. Even though we don't have farm to market road at this junction, we still see vegetation sport. We see market women full sporting and getting damaged in Douala, Rela, and stuff. So as the government is opening these places, because I mean more goods are going to be coming to Monrovia, has the government created some opening where it's going to create, let's say, some commercial site to refrigerator, first freezer, or some storage area that can accommodate for other goods that will come to Monrovia, Banga, or other places? Those are all things that we can be doing in the meantime. Or are they opening the market for people like us to come and say, you know what? If the people going to be bringing up their goods and stuff from lower Bon County or upper Bon County. Let me open a storage area in Banga, and then to store those things so that they can go so that they don't spoil. So those are things that we're talking about. And the only way I can do that, if I know when I go to Liberia to invest, there will be security. But none of those things are there. So in order for Liberia to develop on a solid ground as you want to stay it, there are preconditions that must be met. Yeah, thank you, Joe. You said Rossville. There must be preconditions that must be met. People, the lawmakers should be doing their job as they're supposed to represent the people, not represent their pockets. Because that's what, in my opinion, that's what everybody is doing. Whether the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, everybody just after their pockets and not looking after the common people. And that is what causing the problem in our country. Now, River says put a question up there, Sherry, if you want to put it
let me find that question real quick. Is it this one? I don't know. I thought River said
I think it's the first one. Yeah, I think it's this one.
Yeah. So he's a guys. I grew up in an era when caterpillars and other machines were not celebrated, but seen as a normal government operations. Why is it different now? Is it a generational thing? Is it a mentality thing? What is it? So that's the question we're trying to answer. And look, so we are not here bashing and saying, look, by bringing yellow machine in the country is a horrible thing. That's not what we're saying. But we are saying this is expected of our government. This is an expectation to bring about development. The government is there to bring about these things to actually help its citizens to get around from point A to point B. So that is a good thing. But how many governments must do this one project? Every administration comes, they say road, they claim road. Every administration road. Which administration is going to come and take care of healthcare? Which administration is going to come now and say, let's go back to empowering public schools? Which administration? Because road become like the primary target for everybody. Road. And Sabalucia, here's my biggest fear I have. And before I come to that, let me go to Riverside Pro. I agree with the point the brother is making. It should be a normal government function. I should not be standing and spreading my lap out on the street and say, hey, yellow machine, come in the country. Let's wait. Look, I pray that this machine works out. I'm really praying. But I saw a post where somebody actually said, the same yellow machine you're celebrating is the same yellow machine that people are using to break down your houses. They're demolishing your houses. Okay?
Yeah.
We would love to see these yellow machines functional and operational, and people are using it for the intended purpose. Let it be used to connect roads. Let it be used to connect people, to make traveling accessible. If Sabalucia, you myself sit in a place, if you just left my state, you were just here. And you drove from your state.
Yeah.
And 13, 14 hours later, you were in another state. If you wanted to keep going till you get to California, you could go. You wanted to keep going, you could go. You went to Wyoming. Yes, road connectivity, that's exactly right. That's an economic issue. And because of that whole day, when you're driving, you pass these big trucks, go interstate. They're just going from one state to the next, delivering goods and services. We get it. It is needed for our country. It is needed for our country. But as a people in our country, we should not be celebrating this little thing. I call it little thing. These are hanging fruits. Is the
low hanging fruit. Very, very low hanging fruit.
Yeah, it's a very low. I mean, it's my Liberian people. It's the plum when you're standing on the ground, the one you can pick. That is there. Low hanging fruit. You should be celebrating the last plum up there in the tree. That when somebody picked that one and said, "Whoa, the guy got it." But this little thing, when we start celebrating it, what will we do when you hit the last plum on the top of the tree? Are we going to be having a holiday or what? That is what we're saying. And I want to go back to something.
So the question River says asked though. He's go,
make a statement on that before.
Yeah, River says this is not a generational thing. It's a conditional thing. Because the generation that is coming after us are asking more questions than we did when we were growing up. It may be a Liberian conditional thing. Because Liberians have conditioned their citizens to think and believe that way. That is why they're celebrating these things. But if you go to Ghana, you go to Rwanda, you go to other African countries where people have been educated, and again, like I said, the removal of service by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf from the education system was very intentional to keep Liberians not knowing their rights. That's one of the main reasons they did it. And education also, as it is generally in Liberia, has not been prioritized as well. That is also intentional because these people who in government, almost all of them, their children are on education tourism. Most of them. Because I'm telling you, most of them have already sent their children out of the country so that when they are done, their children can come back to become ministers, to become lawmakers, and control you who cannot send your child out of the country to control them again. So your child, it becomes a generational curse for you to continue serving them, while their children become a generational blessing for them to keep sending their children out of the country to learn, while they demolish or diminish your education system to continue to become their servants. That's what it is. So it is not generational. Or River says it's a conditional or Liberian, a Liberian conditional situation that is happening in our country.
And I want to go to Dennis Ben. Dennis is saying his personal for his personal contribution is we need. He said right now we have more Dr. Talk than Dr. Do, and I get the point. He said Dr. Talk is good, but Dr. Good is the best. Please talk and do. So I don't know exactly who that is directed at. Please talk and do. But the way I'm reading it, and I want to go in that direction. I love Dennis. I always give this man a hard time for his name. So Dennis is even though we haven't met in person, but I like the guy. And but brother Dennis, I just want to say it this way: if it is the idea of developing the country that you think we got more people talking about developing the country, but they're not doing it. Let me just say I can speak for more people. But I will speak for myself. You already know your brother Emmanuel, so I can speak for him, and I can speak for everybody here on this platform. Each of us, the reason we open our mouth wide and we say stuff about Liberia, and we talk about development in our country, brother, is because each of us here, and I'm not saying people should come and start begging us for money, but each of us have some kind of development in our country that we're undertaking. We got development we're undertaking. We got projects, we got businesses that we undertaking in the country. And because of that, if that country develops and that country goes in the direction I want to go, we'll go. Let me tell you where I'm building my little kitchen in. I got some kitchens I'm building. You know what I did, Brother Dennis? There are other people in that area too from the States, from other places, who building a little kitchen in that area. You know what I did? I told them, I said, from the Mikota Road, because the Marshall Road is beautiful, it's paved. But I told them, I said, from the Mikota Road until we get to our property, I contacted each of those people that are building their own little kitchen there. I don't know them, but I was driving to my little kitchen and stopped. Oh, who owned that place? Oh, the person living in so-and-so place. Where's that phone number? I took that phone number and I called each of those people. And I said, oh, from the Mikota Road, all the way going to our little road that go to our little kitchen, the road battle. I mean, when the rain falling, it's hard to drive, and the sand in that area is hard to drive. Can we get red dirt and put it over here? Ask anybody who know me, who don't know about my stuff. And so everybody said, oh, I can contribute 2 load. I can do 2 truck. I can do 4 truck. Brother, from the Kota Road all the way going to our little kitchen places, those places, the road, in not Kota, but we can drive safe now and get to our little kitchen. So that's something. So each of us, we're building our little kitchen. We got little businesses we're doing. We're working on different things in the country. And because of that, we can say we are not just opening our mouth. We can be the Dr. Do. So we are part of that Dr. Do group. And so no political interest here so far. I can say that so far for now. No political interest. I would never say I don't never have political interest. Maybe there will be sometime somebody will come knock on my door. I never know. So I will never get on any social platform and say I never have political interest in Liberia. I can't say that. But for now, I just want to make sure that we are celebrating the right context, the right things, and holding our leaders responsible. And don't just celebrate because they put one transformer in your district. Don't celebrate because they bring one yellow machine. The yellow machine not even lift the first dirt here, and you'll start celebrating. You're spreading lapa. Wait, and let's see. That's why when you talk about Dr. Talk and Do, let's see. We see in the quantity, they say 285 machines, right? Let them come. Let the roads be paved. And you be the testimony. You go out and tell the world what has happened in Liberia. but we haven't seen it yet. Let's hold our horses. Listen to Amaracone. Don't raise your expectation too high because you might be disappointed. Go ahead, Sabalucia.
Yeah, so Mr. Sherry, you have all right to hold any position in Liberia. I mean, because that's what the Liberians in Liberia, some of them think that, oh, because the guy came to America, then he doesn't have a right. The Liberian Constitution, if you look at the 1972 Constitution on citizenship, it says once a Liberian is always a Liberian. It is enshrined in the Liberian Constitution, so you have the right to go back home, regardless of what they say, and run for any office based on whatever the criteria election commission said. But anyway, now when it comes to the talking duo, what our brother is saying is something that is actually true, right? That was like most of the time that's what we do. And I have one of those people who don't like to listen to that because we spend 99% of our time just talking and planning and talking and planning. And then by the time we're ready to do, the money we allocated for that is finished. Then we got to go back again to a talking bowl. And that's exactly what he's talking. I'm telling you, that's what he's talking about. Most of the time, Liberians, that's what we're good at. We're good at describing what we can do, how we'll do it, and all that stuff. And we're using the money we're supposed to use to build that infrastructure or whatever we want to build. We'll spend all that meetings after meetings. You're spending the money. And then when the time to implement, when you look, you can't find the money because you use the money to pay that person way, to pay that other person way to do their own, and then the money finished. Then you go back to the drawing board to start planning again to look for money. When you get the money, then you start planning. And that's what Liberia, and that's what causing Liberia development to be very slow. Because most of the people that are involved in the decision making, they want to spend all their time talking instead of working. And again, it comes back to what I will always talk about. The lawmakers who are signing this concession agreement and whoever are involved in the concession agreements in the districts, they are the main failures of the country. They are the main, because they represent the people elect them to bring them jobs. The executive branch cannot give everybody a job. That is a reality in any country. In any democracy, it's any letter refer to democracy. In any democracy, the executive cannot. So your lawmakers are the one that are supposed to open the private sector. The executive is supposed to provide security for that to happen. But the executive will not provide that if the lawmakers do not hold them accountable. And that's what our problems are. So in order for those things to happen, to be talking to, the lawmakers need to step up their game. Unfortunately, the Liberian citizens themselves are not holding those lawmakers accountable. And that is why we find ourselves where we are. So this is a circle, a 360-degree circle that everybody is involved. And every one of us must do our part. The citizens have their part to play. Stop playing politics with everything and hold the people accountable to do their job. That's one of the problems we have. When somebody is doing, like the guy who they just put in jail, everybody picking side because of political. Why should it be politics? You know, you see lawmakers of the same, and that's another thing. You see lawmakers from the same county, because they're from opposition, instead of they seek the interest of that county, they seek in the interest of the political party. What sense does that make? You got one lawmaker saying, "Oh, I can't buy," and I'm a victim of it because my people are a victim of it. Where in our district, in one of my districts in Bonkade, we form medication for a hospital. But because the two people, the person who is from that district, okay, is not in the same political party with the senator of that district or for the county, they don't agree, then the medication stay in the country, it could not be released to the people. So they put politics ahead of the citizen, and the Liberian people don't see it. We see Musa Belede trying to build bridge in our county, but because he's not aligned with somebody, they say, "Oh, the bridge can't be built." Then they bring all kinds of nyama. That's what holding the country back. And the citizen will stand there and won't defend those behavior. Those are insane. You know, we need to get away from it. We should put citizen above politics, citizen above or name recognition, citizen above affiliation. If we start to do that, then our country will develop.
Man, you know, and gentlemen, you know, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who listen to us, you know, we say again, we want to say thank you. We know we about to wrap this show up. You know, I really like the comment that's taking place. You know, Dennis would love to hear this on the radio station. We're on the radio station there for a little bit, but things started getting a little expensive. You know, Dennis would do this out of pocket, out of love. And things just started getting a little expensive, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get back on the radio station because he is right. This kind of conversation has to be on the radio. Jackson is saying the network in his district is a little bit bad. So Sapalucia, Jackson is actually in Bon County. He said the network system is really bad. So you need to look for a telecom company that can go there. No, I mean, Sapalucia, you're not a senator yet, so I'm not holding your feet to the fire. But your representative and your senators, these are things that need to be advocating for. That's what we talk about development mindset. People need to be. You have to look at your district and say, what is the need for my district? What is the need? That is why they got you there.
Yeah.
And that is the development mindset we're talking about. We are not just talking about building skyscrapers. That is not. But what is the necessity? Is mobile money accessible to my people in Bon County? If not, I need to do something to make sure it is accessible. If telecommunication is not accessible in Banga, I need to make sure it is. If your representative and your senators are doing this, look, then we will not be clapping our hand because somebody bring Caterpillar in the country. And look, I got too many friends in this particular administration. So I got too many friends. So I'm not tearing down this administration at all. I am just holding, my whole conversation here is holding our citizens' feet to the fire. Many times we hold the government feet to the fire, but I want to hold the citizens' feet to the fire today. Don't celebrate little things. That's mediocre. That means it's just like Sabulicia used this analogy last week. You send your child to school and your child, you say, oh, my child gets 70%. He home tech. So I got to clap for him. No. You're setting that child up for failure.
Oh.
You should expect that child to go and be the first in his or her class. Deuce the class if you can. Right now, you're arguing about who the dudes for the LU law school. That's a different story that we can talk about it another day. But let your child be the first. Set your child up to be the dudes for that class. Don't celebrate your child. Oh, let me take you to buy ice cream because you got 70 on your history test. You're setting that child up for failure. And that is what we're talking. Citizens, you need to know your rights. You need to know what your government ought to do for you. If you know that, man, your vote will not be cheap. Don't celebrate because somebody bring yellow Caterpillar in the machine. I mean, the thing have not even grill one acre. I mean, one 20 feet of road, and you're celebrating it. That is the mindset I want us to change. That is what I'm not saying. Bringing a yellow machine in the country is a horrible thing. I'm just saying that does not call for celebration. It is a duty of
the made a point. I hope you see, and I wanted to see Liberians do not really think about. If you can see in our public offices and public buildings, they do not think about maintenance. So I hope the machine you brought, I hope you brought spare parts and you got a mechanic that can work on it. Because if not, you celebrate a meeting that will be stuck in one of those towns, and it become how do you call this, tourist attraction. It become tourist attraction.
Sure, be taking picture on it.
Yeah, so
they'll be taking picture on it. Yeah, so but no, I mean basically we know exactly what we're saying, man. I don't think we are here bashing anyone at all. I think what we are saying is set your expectation very high, and if they go above that expectation, then you say, look, I applaud the administration. But there are a lot of things in the country that still need to be fixed. There are a lot of issues that need to be addressed. There are a lot of things on the agenda that still need to be. Look, one of the things that scare me, look, anytime coming to that country, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. Anytime I have the opportunity to come to Liberia, I celebrate coming to Liberia. But my entire time in that country, I always say to God, God, please help me not to even get the common cold when I'm in this country. Help me, because by the time the ambulance comes, they said no gas, so you got to get them money to go buy gas, and then come by. By the time you come, bad thing has happened. Mm-hmm. And so there are a lot of things that need to be addressed in the country that you citizens need to be holding your representative, your senators accountable, asking them tough questions. People still having children on the side of the road, for crying out loud. You should be asking those tough questions. Don't celebrate yellow machine coming in the country. Set your expectation high. When you set that expectation high, friends, you will force your government, you will force your people to do something. If they are not up to the task, vote them out, get them out, and bring people. Because every year we go through the same thing. We have the election cycle. We bring people. They don't do they eat their own. Then next year we bring another one. They eat their own. That's all we're doing in the country. And then when they do small thing, we clap. I understand that mindset. Don't celebrate little, don't celebrate mediocrity because you are just celebrating people that are not doing much. And they would now sit back and say, oh, if this was big, then I don't have to go somewhere else.
No, yeah.
Or set them up for success by expecting more and more and more from them. Yeah. Sabalisa, let me give you a time to wrap up as we close today.
Yes. Also, as we are going again, we are not saying the yellow machine is a bad thing. No, we think it has a lot of good things that it can do for the country if, and that is a big if, if it is used for the intended purposes, it will do a lot of good things for the people. But if we don't see it, one minister come and taking care of your farm, one director come take, one lawmaker take. Once they don't start dividing it, 137, when you divide them among 100 lawmaker, ministers, and director, you will not see it again. Because then you see it in Grand on somebody farm working for them, and the common people will not be served. Don't act like it doesn't happen because it happens all the time in Liberia. We know that. One of the things I could suggest is, from what we used to do way back in the days, the Liberian government used to use the armed forces to build roads, to build bridges and stuff. I think if they can bring back the engineering battalion from the armed forces and you trust them to start building roads in Liberia instead of spending unnecessary money on these so-called, I'm not saying public were not doing their job, but on these people who will work on road for 10 years and the road still stay the same, then I think that would be another.
Sabalisa, public work is not doing their job.
Hey, I'm just saying.
I got
people who working there.
Every little county.
I got a people who working there.
You live in Harris County. You live in Harris County. Every little county have their own public work division. They have their own little public work division. But when it comes to major construction, who does the government go to? They go to Army Corps of Engineering.
Yeah,
that's what they call.
So yeah. So if they can read, I don't know how strong they are these days, but if they can put them back, I think that would be a good idea to. Oh, somebody said we want to open the lounge, Sheriff.
Oh man. That's our man, Rosas Pro, my man. We gotta go. We gotta end it.
So if
next week, I think I'm gonna have our good friend Dennis. Dennis is gonna be on the show next week. I think if Dennis comes on the show next week, definitely let's bring Rosas Pro on so he can hold Dennis' feet to the fire. But no, we just want to kind of end our broadcast today. I have to run to another meeting. Sapalucia, I know he got stuff always lining up. So I just want to say, that was just my little piece I want to share. When the government is doing well, we'll celebrate them. But when they are not doing things that are worth celebrating, we should not make it a big deal. Reconstructing the roads, making sure that development come to the country, that is part of the government's job. The government should actually be trying to bring the public sector, the private sector into play. When you bring the private sector into play, they help with that development aspect as well. You bring a settlement in the country, let them help. But you brought one firm in Bone Mines. The Chinese company brought the Bone Mine. All they had to do was to renovate those camp houses, those beautiful houses you have there. But they left it. They have gone deep into the mine and they left those houses still standing there. It's just ready to be demolished. Yeah. And so they have no interest in your development. But you should hold them to your concession agreement that these are what we expect in that particular district: health, education, and good sanitation. We got to go through all of that. Safe drinking water for the people. If you can hold your government responsible, I promise you, things will be better. But if you celebrate little things, that's all you will get from your people. That's just my last note. Sabalucia, I'd like for you to close, and then we'll end our broadcast for today.
Yeah, so and then there's a good point you put you brought up there when it comes to the bomb mines. Why these people are not interested in your country? The Liberians feel that these guys are coming in the law of our country. No, they're only there for money. Now you got to make sure that whatever you get in from those concession agreements are intentionally drafted or put together to benefit you as an individual. And one thing we always think or believe in Liberia is that the people don't need our resources. No, they need it more than you think. But they make you feel that they devalue it to you. If you don't put value on your commodity or the resources you have, they're not going to add value. They're going to come and tell you, then we can find it somewhere else. They can find it. Tell them to go to the other place and find it. And see whether they will not come back and say, let me get it from you. Until we can start showing these so-called investors or companies that Liberia resources are intended to benefit the citizens, they're not going to do it. So Liberians, let us start thinking about the bigger things, how our country can develop, not for today, but for tomorrow. If Liberia shall rise, we all will have to work. Citizens will have to understand their rights and hold their lawmakers or their elected officials and appointed officials accountable. That's the only way Liberia can develop on a solid ground. The yellow machine, it could be good, but the only way it will be good if it is used for the intended purpose to do road network throughout the country, not for it to be found on Emmanuel Farm or Maxwell Farm or somebody farm. That's that won't help the come up with. But with that, we want to say, Liberians, thank you for watching. Thank for all those who contributed. Our River says Ben, Jackson, Joseph Gray, and everybody who, if I don't see your name, who contributed, I want to say thank you for joining us. But please, you can also share this. I know we're not on the radio, but if you share with your friend share with another friend, it can eventually end up to the ears that you want to hear this, to get this information. Again, thank you and have a wonderful week. Have a blessed new month. This is my birth month, so I will start celebrating in my heart. The only thing you're not going to hear from me is March 11 loading. It's not going to load. You have a
All right,
blessed one.
guys. On that note, stay safe. God bless you guys, and we will talk to you soon.